I'd like to thank you for inviting me on the show. It's such an honour to be here, and I'd just like to say that when I'm not playing Xbox with my mate Thor, I really like to listen to my favourite podcast, Pop Culture Pasta.
So Cody was just bringing to mind Sean Mullins and his one-hit wonder, Rockabye.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the words, but I can. Is it weird when you can't remember the words, but you can hear it in your head?
There's a line about a Nashville tan.
Yeah. And Nashville. And then he talks like this. And it's very soothing. And then he goes,
sings.
Then he goes, rockabye, rockabye. Yeah. But I can't remember any of the words.
Whenever
everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah, whenever you need soothing, put on some Mullins.
Sean or Rich, just to be clear.
Either one, really. I prefer Rich. There's more than one song there, but
we should have had Sean Mullins for our 100th.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Is he still alive? I don't even know if he's still alive.
I think so.
It feels right that for the 100th episode, we should be sitting here talking about, and me wondering if some celebrity from the past is still alive, because I have no idea. It just feels right, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm Dave. Cody's here.
I am.
And this is Pop Culture Pastor, the podcast, and this is our 100th episode. 100 episodes, Cody.
Woo woo.
Could you have ever imagined?
I thought we would have only made it to episode 3.
Yeah. I don't know what I thought was going to happen when we started this podcast. I don't know. I've thought multiple times, who listens to this? But then I hear other podcasts and I'm like, well, okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. Everybody's talking about something. And if we're your cup of tea, we're your cup of tea. That's just it. It's just about finding your cup of tea.
Chip from Beauty and the Beast.
That's your cup of tea?
Yep.
Okay. But you wouldn't drink it because tea's garbage water.
It is garbage water. And also he's a boy. So
So it's weird?
Yeah, it would be weird. But that's my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Because he sings.
My cup of tea is the strawberry lemonade flavored Propel water.
That's not tea.
No, I don't drink pop much anymore. I'm not a pop guy. I've kind of worked that out of my diet. It's the one good thing I've done for my diet in the last year is I've gone to Propel water.
Not a sponsor of the show.
Because if anyone knows water, it's Gatorade.
My friend Bobby might disagree with you.
Bobby Boucher. I would make Bobby Boucher very upset. But at least it's water and Gatorade, kind of. It's really flavored water. It's mostly water. I don't know why this became a non-paid advertisement for Propel, but I drink a lot of it. So if they want to sponsor us, that would be great because we made it to our 100th episode. They should want to sponsor this Pop Culture Pastor, brought to you by Propel Water. It's tasty.
And if you are some other company that's listening, just imagine your company's name where he said Propel.
Honestly, just because we're pastors doesn't mean we can't lie good. We're willing to lie if you want to give us money to do this so we can go out to comic conventions and such, which is really the reason we started this podcast was to, if you go back and listen to our first episode ever, if you've been listening from the beginning, you already know this, but if you go back and listen to the first episode, we kind of lay out what the whole mission of this is. And now that we've been doing this for a couple years, basically we wanted to create community. And so we talk about the things we love, pop culture, and we want to hook up with other people who love pop culture. And we want to invite everyone into this community. And we think we've started a little community here. We're a pretty tight-knit community. We have a community page on Facebook, and it's small right now, but it's growing. Each time we go out to comic conventions, we invite a few more people into our group. Every once in a while, we add some people on Facebook, and they're invited into the group, and that's what we want. We just want this to be a big community where everybody feels like our common things we love are the things that bring us together. We really want to stress something in this world today where everybody is talking about what separates us. We want to talk about the vast majority of things that actually we have in common that we don't talk about.
And we can agree to disagree.
Yeah. Cody and I do that a lot. But we love pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean we love the same things, but that's the fun of it. We get to talk about it and debate, but then at the end of the day, we're still family.
We are, just like Vin Diesel.
And so that's what we want to keep doing. We want to keep going to comic conventions. We're going to Air Capital Con in Wichita at the end of October.
Hey, that's happening.
Yeah, it's at the Wichita Sports Forum. You should come see us. Come find us. If you're in the Wichita, Kansas area, come find us, hang out. We'll have freebies. We'll have prizes.
The Wichita Metroplex.
That's right.
I don't know if that's what they call that, but
As we just did.
Yep, name it and claim it.
You're welcome, Wichita Metroplex.
Yep.
Okay, so it's the 100th episode. We're thrilled that it's gotten this far. We're thankful, if I may speak for Cody. I think
Thank you.
we're both. Thank you. I'd like to thank Bubbles, the Chimp, and Quincy Jones, because that's who Michael Jackson always thanked.
Yes.
Seriously, thank you for listening. We think we have the perfect way to celebrate, the best way we could possibly think to celebrate our 100th episode. And that was to get everybody in on it. We're a community. Cody and I are just the guys talking into the microphone, but we add more and more people in the community. It starts with the geeks of the round table who we bring onto the show with us, our contributors, that they have their certain areas of expertise. And we have our listeners, and we thought we would invite a few listeners along with the geeks of the round table to come in this 100th episode and tell us, give them 1 minute. We put a minute on what we call the geek timer, and they would be able to state their case for some piece of pop culture that they love that we have for some reason haven't talked about. And so that's what we did. We've brought in all the geeks of the round table and some of you listeners as well over the geek phone. And we think we've got a great 100th episode for you, talking about everything you've ever wanted us to talk about. And then we get to talk about why we haven't talked about it.
Spoiler, I doubt we talk about Hal Sparks and I Love the 90s on VH1.
Why don't we all talk about Hal Sparks more?
That's a good question.
I mean, how did Hal Sparks get lost? How did he leave our public consciousness?
These are the questions I ask daily.
Is he still alive?
I believe so.
Okay, good. I don't know if my heart was going to be able to take it if Hal wasn't among us anymore. Anyways, that's what we're doing. This is the 100th episode. We're going to talk to the geeks of the round table are here. We're going to have listeners here for you going to bat for beloved pieces of pop culture that you want to talk about. And we're going to figure out why we haven't talked about it. Are you ready, Cody?
I am.
It feels a little bit more special this time because it's the 100th episode. But here we go. Cody. To the Geek Phone!
The Geek Phone.
All right, Cody, here we are. We're on the Geek Phone.
We are on the Geek Phone.
The first participant in our 100th episode extravaganza live on a car phone from Waukene, Kansas. I don't know that that's actually where he's at, but it sounds like it. Jason Giesemann, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me now?
Good.
Jason is there. Yeah. We had some issues, but
I'm actually on a car phone in Wichita.
Oh,
you know.
It sounded more funny if it was Waukene, though.
Yeah, that would have been hilarious, but that's a really far drive.
That is a long, long ways. So, Jason, let me just state what we're doing here, just as a refresher, because I think you already know. But what we're doing here, this is our 100th episode, and we're letting any geeks of the round table on the show with their own minute, their own 60 seconds to state their case for a piece of pop culture that we have not really talked about. And then we'll react to it, and maybe we'll discuss why. Maybe we'll talk about why we should. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know how this is going to go.
This is basically a wild card idea.
It's best idea
this sounds
we've ever
like
had.
perfect for Pop Culture Pastor podcast.
Yes, it is. So
let's just wing it.
Let's wing it. Let's just first one out of the gate. Let's just do it. Jason, are you ready?
I am ready. I actually prepared.
Okay, the clock starts now.
All right. Dave and Cody, I have a nominee for the most underappreciated / underrated pop culture icon in today's day and age. So I want to say that so you guys can be thinking about who you would choose while I talk about my nominee for most underrated / underappreciated pop culture icon. My nominee is Sir Alfred Matthew Weird Al Yankovic. I believe that he is so underrated and underappreciated, even by me at times in my life. This is a gentleman who started making parody songs at the age of 16 when his first one was played by Dr. Demento. And since then, he's now 63 years old, has come out with hit after hit after hit after hit, spanning different mediums between music and television and movies and MTV Video Awards to YouTube. He has 11 Grammy nominees, has been platinum multiple times, has had both, well, it was a box office flop, but is a cult classic in UHF. And if you have not seen the Weird Al Yankovic story movie with Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al, you are missing out.
Okay.
I'm missing out.
That is my nominee.
We let you go
you've
over.
got to see it, man.
Yeah, we let you go over time because you were rolling.
Yeah, you were.
Okay.
We didn't want to stop you. First, let's address the first part, which, Cody, how is it we haven't talked about Weird Al Yankovic at any sort of length?
That's a really good question.
Just hasn't come up.
Really hasn't. And the thing is, like, Weird Al is in a lot of different pop culture avenues. I was watching The Office the other day, and Michael Scott's talking about a concert, and Weird Al Yankovic was going to be the headliner, and like Madonna was going to open, and then the person that he was having an affair with was like, oh, that concert sounds amazing. And yeah, no, he's just a reference in a lot of pop culture things.
Yeah.
We've really missed the boat on that one.
Jason, how old are you? How do we compare in age?
I am 41.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm 47. I'm about 6 years
Weird
older.
Al. I was in high school when Amish Paradise came out. First Weird Al I remember was Eat It, and I'm Fat, which is a chubby kid from Kansas, just spoke to me in a deep, deep place.
Yeah, so Eat It and Fat were the ones that really hit me, and I became like a true fan of Weird Al. The first one I remember hearing was it's Johnny. It's Johnny, he says, and laughed in his special way about Ed McMahon on the Johnny Carson show. There was that one, and then of course one based on my favorite game show. I lost at Jeopardy.
Yeah, at Jeopardy, yes.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah, so that was my first, like, when I became aware of him, and then Fat and Eat It really pushed it over.
So Weird Al was big for me growing up, and then like kind of died out, and then White and Nerdy came out, and I'm like, he's back.
Yeah,
and like everyone was like, oh yeah, Weird Al, he's the goat. And like,
absolutely. And UHF, if you are too young, that just doesn't hit you in the right place. But that is absolutely a cult classic. That was absolutely a movie we as kids rented from the video store many, many times. And it's so weird and so Weird Al.
Oh yeah.
And again, it was a box office flop because it came out in the summer of just some incredible movies. In fact, I pulled it up here a little bit ago of what released the same summer as UHF. So these were the big movies, the blockbuster movies that summer: Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade,
Classic.
Ghostbusters 2, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Oh, that's good.
Weapon 2, Batman, License to Kill, Dead Poet Society, When Harry Met Sally, Do the Right Thing, and Weekend at Bernie's all released that summer, and
That-
UHF got hidden behind all that.
That is a murderer's row.
It
of
is.
movies. Like, even if you ignored the Indiana Jones sequel, which that was a huge movie, people
Yes.
forget Lethal Weapon 2. The Lethal Weapon movies were ginormous. Mel Gibson used to be a world superstar before he went crazy and did weird things.
Melly Gibson.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cody, can we pledge to having a Weird Al? Maybe we should do a Be Kind Rewind on UHF. That might be worth it. Although I don't know how many people have seen that.
That's interesting.
All right. Here's what we're doing, Jason. We pledge that your next time on your way through Chanute, you're going to tell us when that is. And we're going to schedule a Be Kind Rewind for UHF. That's what we're doing.
It's happening.
It's happening. I haven't watched that since I was a kid. I got to watch it again.
I haven't watched it since I was in high school.
You've seen it, though.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
I've got to show it to my kids. That's what I got to do next.
Yeah. Okay. Jason, good first segment out of the gate.
I honestly thought when you started off that we were going to go very serious type of thespians. I had Cillian Murphy in my head.
How dare you say that Weird Al is not a serious thespian?
So, yes.
Come on, Cody, you got to know me better than that.
So good one.
Shocking Weird Al slander.
No, I didn't say he wasn't a serious thespian. I was just modern times. Killian's up there.
All right, Jason, we appreciate you. Thank you for being a geek of the round table. And you've proven once again your worth to the knights and the geeks of the round.
Awesome. Hey, congratulations, guys, on 100 episodes. You're doing awesome.
Thank you. That was sweet. We'll see you later, buddy.
All right, bye.
Okay, Cody, we are back on the Geek Phone.
Not sponsored yet. If you want to sponsor the Geek Phone, we are open.
Good thinking. We need a Geek Phone sponsor. Geek Phone brought to you by Hy-Vee.
Maybe that's just an example.
I'm, just throwing it out there, Hy-Vee grocery stores.
If we could get Patrick Mahomes to do the commercial intro, I'm for it.
And after we get the Patrick Mahomes hookup, that's when we get Kelsey, and then that's how we get Taylor Swift.
And that is the full circle that this show's all about.
Swifties!
Yes.
I wasn't a Swiftie until today, but now I am. Okay. We are on the Geek Phone for a specific reason. It is our 100th episode, Extravaganza. And we are live on the Geek Phone, all the way from Salina, Kansas, live listening through a glass pressed up to a wall. It's Scotty.
Hi,
What's
guys.
up, Scotty? Scotty, Comics Conclave Scotty, a geek of the round table.
Who knows more than anyone I've ever known.
Yeah, I'm a little intimidated to what Scotty is going to talk about here, because we wanted to give all the geeks their own time. And hey, someone's at the door. Can someone go let him in? Is it unlocked? This is good podcasting right here. We've got people in and out of the Pop Culture Pastor lair just constantly right now. And so it's like a madhouse.
It is.
It's a party. It's a party. And so Scotty, you got 60 seconds to state your case to champion some piece of beloved pop culture, piece of something beloved to you that we have not talked about. And then we'll react to it. But the floor is yours. Your 60 seconds starts now.
So my beloved thing is something you guys actually brought up here not too long ago. I want to bring in Doctor Who, the greatest show of all time, the longest running show of all time, and why you should watch and where you should start for sure is with the reboot with Christopher Eccleston.
That's it? That's your whole pitch?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so I get into Doctor Who like towards the end of Tennant's run. And so I start with Eccleston and magical. And now that Disney is going to have all the Doctor Who in one place,
Exactly.
I'm like, Cody's rewatching some beloved episodes. There might be some tears. I don't even shed tears, and there will be tears. So it's exciting.
Okay. Now, so Scotty, I've thought about watching Doctor Who for a long time. Now, I'm a youth pastor, and in the past, I've had kids make fun of me because I referred to them as Doctor Who fans.
They're Whovians.
And they left me a note on the radio table that said, "We're Whovians, you uncultured swine."
Yeah.
Literally, that, like, who says that? They were so mean. Oh man, it was rough. And so I need you to tell me, as a Whovian, if I don't, because it's all daunting. There's so much IP out there for Doctor Who, kind of similar to One Piece. It's so daunting. Tell me where to go if I don't want to rewatch every single episode of Doctor Who.
Here's what I would say. I would start with, like I said, Christopher Eccleston's relaunch. So they call it Series 1. So start there, which is Modern Who, is what most people refer to it as, and then work your way through Modern
Who.
Oh yeah, because Eccleston's there for one season, and then you launch right into David Tennant, then to Matt Smith, and the train just keeps going.
Exactly. Wow. And then once you get through Modern, and then kind of work your way, through Classic. It may take a little bit to latch on to Classic just because the old hokiness of what it is, but it's gold. And and there will be things that are missing. A good resource for some of that stuff that is missing is the archives, the Internet Archives. Some of that stuff that are still audio that you can listen to as well.
Oh wow!
Because BBC didn't keep anything.
No, with the exception of audio and telesnaps for some of those.
Are we talking about radio dramas?
No,
they were aired.
Yeah, they were aired. So
but they don't have the video.
No, because just like Johnny Carson's show, they taped over that stuff to save money. Yeah. So, but it was a show that was created for children when it was started. It has probably one of the worst start dates ever because it premiered the day after the Kennedy assassination. So it tanked the first weekend. They came back and reran the show then the next week and were huge then. So you had a period through, the 70s that they got to the point where they were like, we don't have the money. They didn't think it would last 60 years like it has, and taped over that stuff. Even so much so in the 80s, they got to a point where they had a controller who didn't see the value in it either and canceled it the first time. So in 89, they axed it. And then out of that is also what you brought up radio dramas. A company started called Big Finish, and they started doing audio plays when there was no Doctor Who out there, and are still doing audio plays now.
I'm just still tripping over the fact that they taped over them, like shocking disregard for posterity.
This is like my grandma recording her favorite shows back in the 90s.
Yeah. What do you mean you're the last Starfighter? What are you thinking, Grandma? My grandma would have never done that, by the way. That was just a joke. My grandma loved The Last Starfighter.
So I will say there's some great episodes. I love it when they go back in time, especially in Earth. Like there's a Christmas Carol episode, there's a Van Gogh episode. Anytime you say goodbye to a companion, there's bound to be tears.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Okay. All right.
And it's always fun when you get a multi-doctor special.
Oh yeah, that's trippy.
We're adding to the list of things that we have not talked about that people think we should talk about. So as with every other one, if you're a Whovian, I don't want to be called uncultured swine again. If you're a Whovian and you're listening to this episode, let us know in the comments. Scotty's right. Sir Scotty of the Round Table. Sir Geek Scotty is right. We should watch more Doctor Who and talk about it. Let us know in the comments. Scotty, thank you. Your knowledge and wisdom has hit home as always. Thank you, sir. See you later. All right, Cody, we are back. This time we are live from the Round Table.
Fancy that.
Because we have with us, personally, Sir Kane, Geek of the Round Table, has made the journey back to the Round Table from the furthest reaches of planet Earth. That's no lie. That's actually the truth. Kane was in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Went home for a little while.
Yeah.
And Now he is back, and we're here. And I say he came back just for the 100th episode Extravaganza.
Yeah, I couldn't miss it. And I'm going to have to say kia ora, which is how the Māori people in New Zealand would say hello.
Oh, well, howdy,
There we go.
which is how we say it in Kansas.
Or meowdy if you have a cat saying it.
Nobody says that. Okay, so Kane, what we're doing is we're giving all the geeks at the round table had a free pass. Come in for 60 seconds. We'll give you 60 seconds of time. You have the floor to champion or state your case for some beloved piece of pop culture to you that we haven't talked about. Okay. And then we'll react to that, and we'll maybe have a little bounce around discussion about why we haven't talked about it. Maybe we should talk about it. And then Okay. So you up for that?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Let me go to the geek timer.
Okay, before Kane starts, I'm going to have a guess.
You have a guess.
Detour 180. Kane's former band. Why haven't we done an episode over them?
I don't know. It might be somewhat niche for the Christian rock heads, but yeah, Kane's like more famous than any of us
Combined.
by far. Yeah.
Once upon a time, in another lifetime, maybe.
Before I always have to ask this. Tell people the most people you ever performed for, where, what it was, and who else was there.
Okay, so that would have to be the Parachute Music Festival in New Zealand. It was one of the first times we were actually playing in front of the public as Detour 180.
Oh wow!
It was.
You started off big.
It was literally the second time that we had played in front of people, and the first time was literally the night before.
Wow!
So this is main stage at Parachute Music Festival. I can't remember the year; it might have been 2003, and it was to around about 20,000.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then after us was Destiny's Child.
What?
With Queen Bee.
And then after them was Toby Mac.
Unbelievable.
Toby McKeon was above billing. Destiny's Child.
I mean, how did you even get to that part? He's like, we literally opened for Destiny's Child.
But then he threw in the Toby Mac, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
At the time, he was like, at the peak of what he was doing.
Cody's just engaging in Toby McKeon slander, and I don't know why we got to stand for it. I don't know. Okay. All right. So that's, so when we say Kane is an OG member geek of the round table, he's got pedigree.
He does. He's people that knows people.
Okay. I'm feeling like I'm under a lot of pressure now, but I've got the geek timer. We're going to start it. Kane, 60 seconds. Your piece of pop culture. Timer starts now.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we've actually talked about this or not, but I have to bring my favorite movie into it. Top Gun. How on earth did they do the original Top Gun and then they did Top Gun Maverick, essentially creating the exact same movie, but they made it better? How did they take the same movie and make it better, still continuing the storyline and like bringing in new characters but old characters, and it's just crazy.
Yeah,
I love those movies.
I don't know. I think we talked about Top Gun maybe on the radio. Did we talk about Top Gun on the radio?
I thought we did a Maverick.
We did a Be Kind rewind on the original, but we never really talked about Maverick, right? I don't think we did anything special on Maverick.
Okay.
And this is amazing, King, because I actually just talked about this with someone the other day. I was talking about Tom Cruise, and I said, listen, because they were bashing him. And I'm like, look, yeah, okay, he's a weird dude, but you got to give him props. Mm-hmm. I mean, he literally made, and I said this to myself, he literally made the same movie he did however many years ago. Mm-hmm. And people went and saw it. It was like the biggest movie of the year in a time when comic book movies were ruling still.
Yeah.
And like it literally is the same movie.
Yeah.
Some people would say Val Kilmer helped carry that, but they might have a bias. I don't know.
Just maybe. Cody is our resident Val Kilmer honk.
Someone had to be, but no, they really did a almost shot for shot remake. Mm-hmm. The opening's like shot for shot.
It really is. Which I just thought was a stroke of genius.
Yeah.
Like exactly what you say, shot for shot, but the newer planes, but the same cinematography, the same like words in the beginning. And when I first saw the movie, I was fully geeking out because I had watched the original movie so many times. So I knew exactly what was going on with the whole shot for shot thing. I was just like, this is epic. I cannot believe they have completely just rehashed the old beginning and it works so well.
Well, for a few seconds, didn't you like, I thought, wait a minute. Did we mess up? Is this the old movie?
Is this a
and then
rerun?
you start catching the difference. You're like, oh, okay, we're just recreating it.
Yeah.
And then you go through the whole movie and you're like, they really just did the same story, and I'm not even mad.
Yeah, totally.
I'm actually kind of digging it.
Yeah.
And this is like so I remember the gist of the conversation I was having now, because it started with people like Scorsese and all these older movie people who bash, when it's not art. It's not artistic. And it's like, I think where movies are, especially like the comic book genre and fantasy genres with the IP now, and where they're going wrong is they're trying too hard to make it different than the IP, which is, no, man, read the room. Like Tom Cruise gave you a map. You make the same movie. That turns out we like the stories we like.
Although I do think an interesting episode would be like when they got it right and when they got it wrong for like sequels that are almost a remake of the original. Because there's several within like the more scary genre of movies that like it's trash.
Yeah,
why are you doing this?
I don't know. Maybe there's certain genres it works for, because when I tell you, other than the first Jurassic Park, which is the best Jurassic movie they've made after that of all the movies?
Jurassic World.
Absolutely. It's Jurassic World. And what is Jurassic World? It's literally the same story essentially as Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost exactly the same thing.
And then it's Jurassic Park 3, and I will not hear any slander on that. So
I'm with you. Lost World people, you're just wrong. You're just wrong.
that was so bad.
Jurassic Park 3 was better. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think Maverick, the only thing missing in Maverick's a little Tom Skerritt. I needed some Tom Skerritt to come in. Does anyone die in Maverick? I don't think anyone dies, do they? We don't get a death. That's the other difference.
We get a significant crash / someone could have died.
Yeah. Significant peril.
Okay. Yes, there's peril. I think that's the only part that I needed that I still favor the original over is I absolutely laugh hysterically not when Goose dies. I'm crying just like everybody else when Goose dies. But then the 5 minutes in film time later when Tom Skerritt walks in and Tom Cruise is in his underwear, his Calvin Kleins, and Tom Skerritt's like, you got to get over it. And you're like, dude, I mean, it just happened. He just died. I love that part. It makes me laugh.
I thought that they could have brought back Berlin.
Yeah.
They brought back Loggins, and I was here for it. Bring back Berlin.
It'd be interesting to know if there's still a thing.
I like to think so.
Yeah, well, we needed our breath taken away. And where was Berlin?
Yeah, we were just on the highway to the danger zone. That's it.
Sometimes that's all you need. Little highway to the danger zone. You need to be told that I'm all right. And what else? What else we got for the Loggins? Footloose.
Yeah.
He's a soundtrack master. All right. Kane, that was an awesome selection. And we talked, we did not have a full episode on Maverick. I know we did the Be Kind Rewind on the original, but we never really talked about Maverick. And frankly, that's a crime because it was really good. And it really hammers home this whole point I'm trying to make where we like the stories we like.
Yeah.
Don't reinvent the wheel. All right.
Unless you have to.
Yeah. Kane, thanks for dropping by the round table.
Always a pleasure.
It's always good to have you, sir. Keep giving the pop culture world. I'm saluting him. You can't see it, so I don't know why I'm doing it. But I'm saluting him and saying, keep the pop culture world popping.
Yeah. Return salute.
Yeah. Out there. We'll be waiting for your next report. See you, buddy.
See ya.
We're back.
We are
live on the Geek Phone. We're setting a record, which we should for our 100th 100th episode extravaganza, if I can get that out.
I'm going to call Guinness after this.
Okay. Maybe we should, yeah. Because we are the only ones with a geek phone. So we would have we're just going to have ownership of that record.
Yes.
Anyway, joining us live from Winter Park, Florida, from a desktop, David Allen. Is Becca with you too, David?
No, she is with the kids.
Okay, so
someone has to take care of them.
So David and Becca listen and are common people, take part or inners on the pop culture community page, pop culture pastor community page. That was terrible. I didn't intro that well at all.
It's like it's his first show.
Well, we had McDonald's for dinner, and it just kind of gums up the works. I think my brain is not quite working right.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Plus, we're still living large off of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce being a thing. And so my brain just feels a bit frazzled right now with the pop culture goodness that's happening in the general Kansas area.
We're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. David Allen, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. You will have 60 seconds to state your case and champion some piece of beloved pop culture to you that we have not talked about that you think we should. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your 60 seconds starts now.
Okay, well, Mortal Kombat 1 was just recently released, and it got me thinking about the franchise, especially since it just had celebrated its 30th anniversary. And just thinking about the impact of Mortal Kombat on pop culture with the political controversy back in the day and how the franchise led to the creation of the Electronic Software Ratings Board and just a political firestorm in the 90s that those of us my age remember, and how angry we were with the politicians trying to step all over our hobby, and how it just made Mortal Kombat an even bigger thing, and how it really started the video game movie genre. And it was just came along in a time where it just was revolutionary as a pop culture icon and as a video game franchise. And it was a big deal to me in my teenage years.
Yeah. So Mortal Kombat is one of those things that it hits me in the right spot, actually, because little known fact, I worked at an arcade during my teen years for a little while. And so Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 2, those are things. Now, I will say I preferred Street Fighter 2, but
how dare you?
Okay, just calm down. Let me get through this. I wasn't a huge fan of the fighting genre anyways. And so Street Fighter was a little bit less skillful, in my opinion. Mortal Kombat, the problem I had with Mortal Kombat is that not only did you have to remember the combinations for the actual moves, but then if you somehow managed to win, which I hardly ever did, I had to remember the combination for the cool fatality. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You're aware of Mortal Kombat, right?
I have played it on the consoles, my friend.
Have you never played the arcade?
There was one at our skating rink. So yes, I have. I also enjoyed the movies though.
You enjoy the movies, okay.
The newest one, woo, that's legit. I
remember you talking about the newest Mortal Kombat movie. Tell me I need to check it out. My problem is I'm just it's amazing because video games were such a big part of my life. And that was such a big video game at that time too, that I can't really explain how that would never hits me. And so I never get into it. I'm aware of the characters, but I have no idea about the story. I like to watch people play when they would do fatalities. That was fun. I dug that.
Oh, now there's really cool graphics with it.
Yeah. So David, let me ask you this. Because I vaguely remember the firestorm around that game. Was that a Tipper Gore thing? Was that Tipper Gore?
That was actually a Senator Joe Lieberman thing.
Oh, Liebs.
Yes.
What? And they just said it was too violent?
Yeah. Oh, his thing was, think of the children, which is funny when I think about it now. But he was just like, they're it's so violent, it's corrupting our children. And but it's funny, the correlation between video game violence and real life violence is minimal at best.
Yeah. I have
to say
people that are really in. Oh, sorry, Cody. Go ahead.
I haven't done any cool fatality moves. Yeah, I haven't gone to my special yet. So
from my experience, the more someone's into video games, the less motivated they are to actually go do stuff. That I would place a bet that the people causing problems are not the people playing, Madden 2022 for 20 hours a day. Just seems like it doesn't leave a lot of time. So Lieberman, I don't know. That whole thing, that was just an era when, so they were really outspoken against that. They were outspoken against, they had moved on to video games, but before that it was gangster rap, which, frankly, I don't know if we should have a problem with, because I think people would be shocked to go back and actually hear the content of rap then compared to now, because they would just assume it was worse now, because everything, I think we have this view that everything gets worse, but nah, not so much. Rap is a little bit more manageable, I think, now than it was then, but still very problematic, I'm sure, in some corners. But yeah, I don't know. Street Fighter 2 was a little bit simpler because I could just button mash. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
I like Street Fighter 2 as well. I think maybe I preferred Mortal Kombat more, because maybe I felt like there was a little bit more of an edge to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Some of the characters are like some of my favorite characters in pop culture, like Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Oh yeah.
Even apart from video games, just as pop culture icons, I think they're great.
Yeah. It's weird. I was glad that the movie was, so I didn't see it, but I was glad that the movie, people said it was good, because I do think, I agree with you, David, just from what I've seen, I feel like Mortal Kombat deserved more recognition over it, because Street Fighter 2 was fine. But like when they tried to make movies out of that, I was like, come on, man. That was basically a cartoonish video game. Whereas Mortal Kombat, like you said, looks a little more edgy, looks a little bit more realistic, graphic wise. And yeah, so
as far as the movies go, I have a very warm place in my heart for the original 1995 film, which was like a big deal movie to me as a teenager. I watched it way too many times, and I think that will be a great option for a be kind of rewind one day, guys.
Yeah. So we've been talking about this 1995 Mortal Kombat. Oh, Pete Sampras's wife is in this.
Yeah, Bridget Wilson. Yes,
the Highlander, Christopher Lambert, is Raiden. Okay, I forgot about this. I forgot about all this. Those are the two big names. Bridget Wilson is Sonya Blade. Is she still married to Pete Sampras? Do we know?
I believe so. And the dad from the MTV series Teen Wolf is Johnny Cage.
No.
Wow. Lyndon Ashby, yes.
Kerry Tagawa, too, a famous Asian actor, is also in that movie. So it's good stuff. What was that, David? Sorry.
I said he's just the best, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
He reprised the role of Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 11 recently.
Okay, very cool, awesome. All right, David. Whew. All right, well,
you've given us something to think about.
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat 1, I know that's a big deal right now. Cody? Are you planning to play that?
No, I had not. But no. If it comes across my path, like, I'm not anti-playing it.
Cody has failed you, David. He has failed you, and maybe we'll have to bring you on and tell us about it.
All right. I feel like I'm fairly well versed in the lore. So
awesome. All right, David. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, and we'll get into some fighting video games soon.
All right, sounds great.
Yep. See you, buddy. All right, we are back. It's the 100th episode extravaganza, Cody.
I don't think I've been to the Geek Phone this much my whole life.
We're living on the Geek Phone, baby. Living on the Geek Phone, and we're back on the Geek Phone again. Joining us live from a rotary phone in Tonganoxie, Kansas. Tongi, Kyle Kessinger. Now, full disclosure, I went to high school with Kyle.
What?
We were friends.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to imagine me having friends, but
Congrats, buddy.
So Kyle and I go way back. Kyle, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're fantastic.
We are.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's a good day. The Chiefs are up 34-0 at halftime, so life's good.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Sunday on the Geek phone. And yeah, Dave didn't look at the Chiefs schedule beforehand, but Taylor Swift, we got Taylor.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
This big pop culture happenings going on at the Chiefs game. Anyways, all right, Kyle, we don't want to distract you with talk about Taylor Swift. Let me pull out the Geek timer so I can set the clock.
Okay.
You have 60 seconds to champion a piece of pop culture. State your case for a piece of pop culture that you love that we haven't talked about. Your 60 seconds starts now.
All right. I'm going to talk about the TV show Supernatural. It ran from 2005 to 2020. 327 episodes. It's about two brothers, Sam and Dean Winchester. They witnessed their mother being murdered by a yellow-eyed demon in Lawrence, Kansas in 1982. And their father raises them to be monster hunters. And their family motto is saving people, hunting things. And so they travel across the country in a 67 Impala with a tape deck, listening to all kinds of classic rock. This show actually has one of the best classic rock soundtracks you ever want to hear. But I really got into this show because of the whole family aspect of it. That was a big subject across the whole show, across the 15 years, what you would do for your family and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's just, there's a lot of humor, a lot of action. The first 5 seasons it was really kind of almost like a horror show. They had, the creator, Eric Kripke, he went through like all the folklore across the country, anywhere from like wendigos, skinwalkers, werewolves, vampires. And they basically went from city to city, killing these things, saving people's lives, just trying to make things right. And all while trying to figure out the thing that killed their mother. So,
okay. Did you say,
I highly recommend it.
Before we get into this, Cody, did you say 2000 to 2020? Was this a 20-year show?
It's 2005.
2005. That's still
15 years.
I think everybody's heard of Supernatural. So it's running on CW, right? When Smallville's on.
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. So I was big into Smallville, and I always remember thinking I should watch some of that Supernatural because people were talking about it. And granted, at the time when that first starts, I'm living in Lawrence. So it's got like it obviously gets talked about because it takes place where you live or sort of starts where you live.
Yeah.
But for one of those, whatever reason, I never started watching it, but I was aware of it the whole time. I'm even kind of familiar with what it was about. Yeah. Even though I have not taken any of it in, and that shows you the power of this particular piece of pop culture. Because if I've never watched a minute of it, but I still kind of know and understand what it's about, that's something, right, Cody?
It is something. I have seen 3 episodes.
Oh, there you
go. This past year, the first 3. So I enjoyed the first 3, but then my wife's like, 15 seasons. That's daunting. I will say I did like the family aspect. Vin Diesel's made a career off of that. And so if someone else can cash in on it, I'm all for it. So
yeah, it's sort of the same feel for me with Doctor Who. It's like I would love to go back and watch a show. I guess what I need is a good hospital stint. And it's up there. It's like at the top of my list. If I'm ever bedridden, then Supernatural is there. But maybe I get a kid. What is it? Is it kid appropriate? Or is it kind of scary?
The first 6 seasons was probably kind of borderline scary. I mean, I wouldn't let a kid anything under a teenager watch it.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe my oldest would get into it with me. I don't know.
I bet she would.
She's currently still going through The Office. So.
Oh.
And my younger daughter is watching Dance Moms.
No, thank you.
Don't judge me. I had nothing to do with this decision. But yeah, I think Supernatural is something eventually I should get into. I mean, I don't know why I haven't watched it.
The dad's Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh yeah,
he's
fantastic.
Can we just appreciate Jeffrey Dean Morgan for a second? Every show he's on, he's the best part of it. He's like the anti-Ralph Macchio.
Literally, when he's introduced as Negan on The Walking Dead, that's when I become a fan of The Walking Dead. But then all the true Walking Dead people are like, this show's jumped the shark. And I'm like, it became a lot cooler.
Yeah. Even like, I'm not even a Grey's Anatomy person, but my wife was. And even the episodes when he shows up and the blonde girl falls in love with him, but he's dying and he dies, he's still the best part. Just change the name of the show and made it about him. All right. Okay. I think that has promise. I should go back and watch Supernatural. Supernatural Funkos, by the way, are some of the more valuable Funkos out there.
Maybe we
they're
could
like
do
a couple $100 to get them.
Oh man.
Be Kind rewind over like season 1 after we finished it.
Oh, that'd be a good idea. We could do a Be Kind rewind over a season of TV. Yeah. Okay.
But also with you guys being pastors, there's a whole lot of biblical themes and biblical references that you guys might get a kick out of.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, you said demons, and like, listen, one of the little side notes of being a pastor or minister or Christian or whatever is that you believe that sort of thing exists on the earth.
So yeah. I'm here for random biblical themes.
Yeah.
So
all right, Kyle, we'll look into it.
All right. Sounds good.
Dude, it's so nice talking to you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you guys.
Yeah. And we appreciate that you listen and that you participate. And we have a community group, by the way. Anybody listening, you should join. Not just follow the page on Facebook, but there's a community group that you can join where a bunch of people post different things. There's lots of conversations happening, and yeah, we're all about the community.
Oh yeah.
So Kyle, thank you so much. And
yeah, thank you guys.
Maybe we'll talk to you again when we do our Supernatural Be Kind rewind.
Hey, that'd work.
I really thought you were going to do Burt Reynolds. That was my guess.
that would be pretty cool.
Take care, buddy.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Okay, we're back live in the Pop Culture Pastor lair at the round table. And this time we have another fellow geek of the round table who's returned from the field. Woo! He's out there doing whatever geeks do.
Yeah.
And he has come back to the round table for the 100th episode extravaganza. It's Matt Bogle. What's up, Matt?
Not much. Nothing new in my life. I went to the KU football game. That was
all right.
a lot of fun. And then
you were doing some pop culture work there.
it was right. I did stop at a game place, and
one that I'd not heard of. And you said there were Funkos there, and now I got to go there.
thousands. Yeah,
Thousands of Funkos.
Oh, there was. I'm telling you.
Okay, and this wasn't like a vintage stock or anything like that.
No,
it was okay. It's independently owned, which makes my interest level go up because vintage stock, those people, I don't like those people.
Ouch.
Okay, they're fine. I don't dislike them. I love everybody, but I mean, I don't like shopping for Funkos there because the stickers, they put their own stickers on the front. You shouldn't do that. Don't do that.
Please don't.
Game Nut Entertainment.
Game Nut. Okay, yeah, they used to be in downtown Lawrence.
Right.
All right. I didn't know they had Funkos. Now that I know, I'm going to have to stop there.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt has been on the show before a couple times. I know one of the times was on the Thor Love and Thunder review show, correct?
Correct.
Because
the most controversial show we've ever done.
Is it? It's only controversial because of you, who somehow still thinks that Thor Love and Thunder is like some amazing movie.
It is top 10, maybe top 15 Marvel.
I love how it's going down. Top 10, maybe top 15. Maybe it sucks.
Like when you have to factor in like all these epic conclusions of the team up Avengers movies, you got to throw them in. As a solo movie, it goes into the top 10. But once you add in like all the team up movies, then we're back out. So
Matt brought cookies and Cody had one. Those aren't laced with anything, right? He's of sound mind right now.
yep.
Maybe.
Okay, Matt, you're here to talk about some treasured piece of pop culture. You're going to get 60 seconds on the geek timer. And you're just, we cede the floor to you and you're going to champion this piece of pop culture.
Okay.
And then we're going to react to it. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm going to get.
Matt, your 60 seconds starts now.
Okay. So the pop culture that I think we need to talk about is Studio Ghibli. That is a Japanese studio that has produced some amazing hand-drawn films that take them upwards of 7 to 9 years to put out, with hundreds of people doing drawings. Amazing films like Castle in the Sky, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo. And actually, in December, a new Studio Ghibli movie is coming out. And I think it's The Boy and the Crane or something along those lines. And the same gentleman is in his 80s, I believe now, is still headed that up. And like my daughter, Tyra, she loves these movies, and Ponyo was her favorite, and now she's all geeked out on it. And even in college, they had a night that they watched, I think, Spirited Away the other night. So
Okay.
The Boy and the Heron might be
The Boy and the Heron, yes.
the
The new one?
the new one. So
Is this like the Pixar of anime? What is this? What do we, because I've heard of them.
Right, but yes, it's anime, but it's all hand drawn, and it's a very feminist style. If you watch the films, but they just pull you in. I mean, they've won an Academy Award. I don't remember which film, but I remember they did. They won an Academy.
So
Award.
they did a Ghost in the Shell, correct? Is that a
I don't. That doesn't ring a bell.
Ghost
I
in
know.
the Shell
I know
2?
that what you're talking about. But I didn't. They might have helped with it. They've done a lot of where they helped with projects.
Yeah, we've got. I have heard of, obviously, Ponyo, Castle in the Sky, Princess Mononoke. Is that how you say that?
Yep.
Howl's Moving Castle. Like, I think it's in my consciousness, but I've never actually seen one. And of course, our anime experience is pretty light here.
So, and I would put it up there with. We talked about on the podcast the robot, the very artsy
Iron Giant?
Bird. Yeah, Iron Giant.
Iron Giant.
Yeah, I'd put it up there with they're very artistic, and the storylines are really wild and good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody, have you seen any of these?
I have not. I've had fans or friends that were huge fans of several of these, and they're like, "You haven't watched?" And I'm like, "Nope." Although, with your recommendation, I am leaning towards trying out The Boy and the Heron. I'm reading through some information about this studio that evidently Walt Disney acquired the distribution rights to the library of Studio Ghibli. And so
Piqued the interest of Walt Disney. So
yes, if Disney sees this as a cash cow, there might be something here.
it's you can watch. I think the whole library is on HBO Max, I believe.
Ooh.
They have this.
Okay. Interesting.
You could binge watch.
Now, am I imagining this, or did they recently make a deal with Star Wars that they were going to make something Star Wars related? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Studio.
No.
Okay, so I'm looking.
They
at,
might, because they do things like that.
I'm looking at an article here. Studio Ghibli teases another Star Wars collaboration from Gizmodo. Last November, this was written April 10th of this year, and it says last November, the nerdosphere understandably freaked out when Studio Ghibli co-founder and all-time most beloved anime filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki released a single photo of the director with the above Grogu figurine. So it turned out to be just an animated short but I think people are still, they have a new tweet with some Star Wars art that came out in April of Ahsoka. And so they keep teasing it. Maybe they're going to do something. I remember people being really excited about it. But again, I just have little to no experience with Studio Ghibli stuff.
They did the Star Wars did those little shorts films, that were real artsy.
With different styles, different
Ronin.
studios. The Star Wars Visions, wasn't that what it was?
Yes.
On Disney Plus.
That's the thing.
I wonder if I didn't know that. That's new to me. But I know Studio Ghibli very well. They did a documentary over Miyazaki because he retired like in 2014. He was like, "This is boring. I'm going to make films again or movies again." And he came back out and he's got he directed and produced this new one that's coming out in December.
Yeah, and I just read the summary for that. It looks very interesting.
So that could be a potential movie we review.
Well, we need to. Okay, so there's a serious need. So when we go to comic conventions to hang out with people, which was what the whole point of this is. We love to go to the conventions and we love to build community and we want to draw as many people from different age brackets. Because the cool thing I think about the show in general is that Cody's a millennial, I'm Gen X. We try to get younger people too. And then sometimes because my kids are, I've got teenagers. And so you've got teenagers, Matt.
Right.
And we want to kind of mix all this together. We'd love for this community to be about everything. The problem is there's so many young anime fans and we're very light. So we're trying to get our toes wet. We're trying to dip our toes in.
Avatar, The Last Airbender, and
One Piece live action.
One Piece live action.
That was our intro into it. And like I got to tell you, I've thought multiple times, I might need to start watching the One Piece anime because I'm so hooked on the story. I want to know where it goes.
Yeah. You're going to get into that rabbit hole.
Netflix
what?
Netflix is supposed to start airing the anime.
They already have it.
They already have it. It's on.
Or is it just an advertisement?
It's just an advertisement. It comes out October.
Okay.
I believe.
Oh, I think the anime is already on.
Or they might be adding a new season. Maybe that's what they're advertising.
Okay.
I don't
They got the
know.
live action and then they pulled up the anime.
Well, there's something like 400 seasons of it or something. I couldn't believe how big it was. When I say it's one of the biggest IPs on the planet, it literally is one of the biggest IPs on the planet. I had no idea. And so, yeah, we're trying to get more versed in it, but we're old. We don't have as much time for watching things. So it's going to take a while. But we do, young folks, Gen Z, we're trying to connect. We're trying to watch some of the anime.
Well, this is some very high-end anime, Studio Ghibli.
Okay, Studio Ghibli. I'll be interested to see if anybody reacts to this when this episode drops. Let us know if you're into the Studio Ghibli like Matt is, and drop it in the comments. Say, hey, me too. Watch and tell us what your favorite movies are, because there's a ton of them. I'm looking at the list of Studio Ghibli movies here, and I wouldn't know where to start other than the ones I've heard of. So let us know if you're a fan of one of the Studio Ghibli movies, and we'll check it out.
Potentially. No guarantees.
Cody doesn't like to make promises.
Yeah. Lord willing.
Only the Sith deal with absolutes.
Yes.
All right, Matt. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, we're back again. This
In
one is
person.
live in the Pop Culture Pastor lair with Cody's wife, Leah. But Leah is a member of the round table. She's a geek of the round.
She's been on a handful of episodes.
Yeah. And sometimes seems more deserving to be here than Cody. I don't know. What do y'all think? What do you...
I agree.
Leah doesn't argue with me as much.
No.
And therefore I don't find her as threatening. Okay, so Leah, you are here for the 100th episode Extravaganza. And basically we want to give all the geeks a chance to champion or state their case for a piece of pop culture that is beloved to you that we haven't talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have 60 seconds, and the clock, the geek timer, starts now.
I think that you guys should talk about the battle of the boy bands or pop culture, like the top female artists in like pop music, R&B of like the 90s. because there's an obvious top performer in every category. Like, you know, you have like the boy bands like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees, all of that. There's a top winner there. We can argue all day about it. It's a hill I'm willing to die on. You know, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. I think you should talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
Are you gonna give us a hint? Or are you saving it? You don't want to.
You want me to tell you who I think the best boy band of the 90s, early 2000s is?
Well, because we already we have someone else has said we need to talk about Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, the boy bands of the 90s. Now you bring up a different side of it too, because Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, that was a thing.
It truly was.
And they beefed.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But like, look.
But there's a clear winner there, too.
And there's people out there who say Britney Spears was a better vocalist. Those people are wrong.
Oh, very wrong.
And I don't really understand how you could even make that claim.
You can't.
No, time has proven who could really sing and who may have been a pretty face.
Cody, contrarian Cody even agrees.
I mean, there was never a question even then who was the better singer. I mean, just getting that out there.
But Britney had a lot of fans though.
She did.
It's funny to look back on them now and think about them now with how big Taylor Swift is, because I think I would have thought back then was, well, it's just not going to get bigger, because you were coming off Madonna, but Madonna was different. I mean, when she started off, she was young, but there was something about Britney and Christina that had like that teenage appeal. When they first started, that the teenagers all kind of went crazy for them. And so you thought, oh man, it's never going to get bigger than this. But then I think Taylor Swift has kind of blown that all out of the water, because the age levels that she appeals to is just off the map.
It is.
And so it's kind of weird to go back and think about Britney and Christina and how big that was.
It was huge.
When they were on the MTV Movie Awards, it was like appointment television. You had to watch it.
You did.
I didn't have to watch it, but I did watch
coming.
a few that they were on. But like, no.
Just no.
Well, so to know something about me, I grew up in a household that was like 80s rock and country.
That's
so
weird.
I was jamming out against my will to some Shania Twain while this all's going down. But I did own both of their CDs, their first CDs that came out, because that was the thing we did back then, was purchase CDs, not just songs.
So I miss the fandom of 90s pop in general, because by the time the 90s roll around, so I'm raised on 80s pop. I'm big into 80s pop, and but the time the 90s roll around, I thought I was hardcore. And I'm listening. So late 80s, I'm listening to a lot of hair bands, and then that goes into Metallica, like early Metallica. And then I think, no, I need something even more hardcore. So I'm big into the rap and the gangster rap when it comes out in the early 90s. And I think like this is all I'm going to listen to. But if nobody was around, I'd turn on the local pop FM station, and I would listen to these songs. And if you pinned me down and asked, wanted my real opinion, I would say, oh, I kind of like it. I kind of like Britney. I even kind of like New Kids on the Block. Don't tell anyone I said that. Did I say that out loud?
Nope.
No.
Don't say that one out loud.
But there's an appeal to it all, and so maybe we should talk about 90s pop. I wouldn't even know. I feel like I could be the person that solves some of these arguments, though, because I don't have any bias. Like when it comes to Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, I don't really care I don't have a fandom for either one, so I'm just going to call it like I see it and say, well, clearly NSYNC's more talented.
Backstreet Boys.
No.
Every member of the Backstreet Boys can actually sing. That's the thing that separates them. NSYNC might have better songwriters, they might be better dancers. But as far as vocalists, get out of here.
So you're saying top to bottom, the roster's better?
Oh,
by far.
Okay. See,
even though I am a Chris Kirkpatrick fan.
Oh my gosh. he
Lance was a cosmonaut. So I don't know enough about them to make the argument either way. So you're NSYNC is top loaded. Because there's no one on Backstreet Boys that has the JT pedigree.
They're the Britney Spears.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's a good comparison.
They have the face.
Yes. Yes, that's a good way to put it.
They have the ramen noodle hair.
Okay, so just a little preview, because if we were to talk about this, I would ask you this question that immediately comes to my mind since you're the resident expert. Who's the most talented Backstreet Boy?
The Backstreet Boys, I would say Brian. Listen to him sing. I mean, he's
Not Nick?
No.
But everyone loved Nick.
They did.
Nick's
but
the face
This
that
is
people
another
like.
in sync scenario here where JC is astronomically more talented than Justin. And I can prove this 100 times over. Justin's just better looking and he's more charismatic. JC was very shy. He was very standoff. He just didn't have what they were looking for.
That's a hot take, and I'm here for it
It's a
because I
hot
kind of
take.
like JC.
JC has a phenomenal voice. This I Promise You. Listen to it. That was his song. He carried that song.
Which one?
This I Promise You.
It's an NSYNC song.
It's an NSYNC song.
That-
But back to the Backstreet Boys. Brian is the voice.
Brian was a short blonde-haired guy, right?
It was kind of brownish blonde.
Brownish blonde?
Yeah,
Okay.
He bleached it at one point.
yeah, he did.
AJ's good.
AJ is definitely a close second.
AJ's the one who had the addiction problems, right?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. He was the bad boy, quote
Yes,
unquote.
yes, yes.
They made him out to be that, character-wise. You always wonder if those boy bands, like, are they these characters or are they just characters?
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for someone to mention Menudo.
Ricky! We don't have time for that, Cody.
So yeah, I do think that this is something that is definitely a good conversation piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you open it up to 90s pop, the hill I'm willing to die on, Savage Garden's the best out of all.
Oh
of
my
them.
gosh, I knew that was coming.
He's brought up Savage Garden
He
twice
is
today.
obsessed.
And I'm going
So
to
obsessed.
keep doing it.
I mean, at least can we
truly,
throw in...
madly, deeply do.
Are you,
know-
oh my gosh.
We were this close to walking down the aisle at our wedding to that song. This close.
No.
Yeah.
That'd have been like if I got
To the
married.
moon and back.
That'd have been like if I got married to Hootie and the Blowfish's Only Want to Be With You.
You should have. I would not have judged you.
No? All right.
Yeah.
That's still doable. I'm going to ask my wife to renew our vows, and we'll go down to the altar to the sound of Hootie and the Blowfish.
No, Cody.
I'm here for it.
Were you into Hootie and the Blowfish? Because
Yeah.
when I think of the 90s, my foray off of rap would have been for Hootie and the Blowfish.
Great. song.
I
Love
have
I was
two
a
or
huge
three
fan.
Phenomenal.
Hootie songs on my playlist.
You have which two? Wait, let me guess. Okay, hold on. Hold My Hand
Oh yeah.
and Let Her Cry.
Let Her Cry would be the third one.
The third one.
Yeah.
The second one Only Want to Be With You?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little obvious. They had some good under the radar ones.
Well, I bet so, but I was
Because
their hits like stop when I'm 7. So
well, that's true. So Hootie and the Blowfish get a raw deal because they blow up in the pop world with their very commercial friendly Cracked Rear View Mirror album. I would say, as a true Hootie fan, that their second album what's the name of that album? Is it Tuckerstown, or is that just a song on it? Eric's saying something back there. What? Fairweather Johnson? Yeah, that sounds right. Their second album is actually the superior album, but it's very much more like the album they wanted to make, probably, and not the record studio.
So I'm more of a Gin Blossoms guy or a Matchbox 20 guy. Goo Goo Dolls had several great songs.
yeah.
I have probably 5 or
Yeah.
6 Goo Goo Dolls
I love
songs.
Matchbox 20 too.
Yeah.
I was all about Matchbox
Mm-hmm.
20, and I just could hardly take the Matchbox 20 slander coming out of the Barbie movie. That was
Yeah,
that
that's
was a
awful.
killer for me because I'm just like, it was about an abusive woman, not.
I was more of a Matchbox 20 fan than I was a Goo Goo Dolls fan.
Yeah, me too. True dat. That's one side.
I lean Matchbox, but I'm not anti-Goo Goo.
No. Me either.
And by the time Rob Thomas goes solo and he starts doing like the iTunes exclusive stuff, which if you haven't listened to the Rob Thomas iTunes exclusive, it's amazing. He does a version of Smashing Pumpkins 1979, which is, it's just awesome. It's just him and a guitar. How come that dude's still not like around? He should be so huge.
He was in an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's him and Sinbad. Then the episode, one of the main characters goes to rehab, and when he's in there, Rob Thomas and Sinbad are in rehab with him. and Sinbad is basically running the joint.
Oh man, yeah. Rob Thomas, he must have he just made his money. He was like, I'm out. I'm done. Because he's so amazing. I'm here for Rob Thomas. I know that's not where we started, but 90s pop.
Yeah. So it's a worthwhile topic.
Yeah, we might have to talk. We're going to have to narrow it down because I could just be all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I like the idea of like, let's answer some, here's what we could do. Let's settle some 90s pop arguments. 90s pop arguments could be the name of the title. And we'll just go through all of them. Backstreet or NSYNC, Britney or Christina.
You could throw 98 Degrees in just for kicks and giggles, but no one's voting for that.
No, I don't. No one. I got no time for that. Where does Crazy Town and Butterfly come in?
They don't.
Justin, Geek of the Round Table in the room says, "Wait a minute, it was a bop." All right,
Smash Mouth.
Smash Mouth. Rest in peace.
Yes.
to our guy from Smash Mouth. That's sad. Leah, thank you. A
You're
pleasure as
welcome.
always. You always bring something that no one else brings to the round table.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love you, girl.
Love you.
Oh wow, we're getting it's getting lovey dovey in here. Okay, thank you so much. We'll see you. All right, back to the Geek Phone. We are on live from I don't know what kind of phone he's on. Maybe he's got his own version of the Geek Phone because he is a geek of the round table, one of our official members.
I hope it's red.
It's Scott Patrick Dillon, the man of three names.
Yes.
Do you have a red Geek Phone, Scott Patrick Dillon?
So it's actually blue.
Okay. It's made by Apple. Scott, what's happening? What's up with you?
Oh man, my wife's away for the weekend, so I've kind of just been trying to fill my weekend with some stuff. Quite obviously, lots of pop culture.
Fantastic.
So you're prepared.
I'm prepared. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we won't make you wait any longer. It's the 100th episode of Extravaganza here on Pop Culture Pastor. And we've invited all the geeks of the round table on and some listeners as well to come with some piece of beloved pop culture that you have that we haven't talked about and basically champion it. State your case. You get 60 seconds. Let me get my timer. I got to get my timer ready. The geek clock. I didn't know I was going to bust that out, but I did. And here we go. Scott, your time starts now.
Okay, so what I chose to talk about today actually is related to I've been reintroduced to it recently. I chose to talk about the Hunger Games saga. And now this hits home close to me because I was coming out of my high school years and my first years of college is when the movies were coming out. It hits close to me because my stepmother lent me the books to read when I was in high school. And recently they actually they're coming out with a prequel movie here in about a month and a half. And so because of that, to gear up for that, I just reintroduced myself to the entire IP. And I learned that my wife was like a total geek over the Hunger Games when she was younger as well. So we actually have pulled a connection to that. So yeah, it's a wonderful, I say a wonderful story. It's a really crazy, intense story, but I'm gearing up specifically for the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I've read the novel. I've listened to the audiobook. It's super good. So,
okay. All right. So we're in the realm of books and movies because this is technically books first. Mm-hmm. Cody, what's your level of hype with Hunger Games?
So my wife is also a huge Hunger Games fan. I read the first book right before the first movie came out and then literally watched the first movie. And I'm like, oh, they did this no justice whatsoever. And I vowed never to read another book before the movie comes out again.
That's probably a good idea.
Because like the first movie might actually be a decent one. I don't know. It was so bad compared to the book because they had to leave out a ton of detail because it is intense in the book. Where in the movie, I'm like, Rue really doesn't have a point for Katniss to be friends with her, or like there's no real connection. I don't know why we're now in movie number 2 like so concerned about Rue, because literally there was no development in that story in the first movie. So like, why are we making a big deal at her district? Once you read the books, you're like, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The movie, it lacked, but I'm excited for this prequel.
Scott, since you're a true fan, where are you at books versus movie? Is he right?
Okay. Oh, books 100%. Yeah. I can't watch those movies with my wife without her being as contrarian as Cody, where she's saying like they left this out and this was so much better there and all that. So here's my experience. What I understand is when they were originally adapting the movie, and you can tell if you watch it, if you really watch the movies, you can tell this. The first movie has so much lower of a budget because they're trying to kick the IP off the ground. And so there's a lot of things where things are missed because they don't have there's some good visual effects in the movie for what it is. But by the time you get to the second movie, they're like, it's a lot more visually impressive. The costuming is a lot more. You can tell there's a lot more money spent in like almost every realm of the movie, as far as the second movie. And then they did the whole thing where they split the final into 2 movies, which is where you get the most accuracy. The movies actually get more accurate to the books as they go on, just because they're able to pack more in. I'm a fan. This to me, the reason I'll always go books, and especially here, is these were the first books that I read these books and were glued to them. And they were, again, my stepmother lent them to me. And I just remember being on the couch at my dad's old house, their old house, and staying up late at night reading the books, just being like on the edge, of my seat, as it were, reading through. So they're one of the first pieces of IP I fell in love with. And recently I've just, the same thing happened when I was reading through The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the movie, the prequel that they're coming out with in November, which I've followed the trailer releases and everything, and I'm excited for it. But it's going to suffer the same thing that Cody is such a champion of, that because there is so much in the book. And I'm thinking the entire time I'm reading the book, like, there's no way they're going to pack this into a movie, even if it's 3 hours, because they just can't.
Yeah. Those are special books, by the way. The first ones you like really, really found yourself lost in. So I get that. That's for me, it was Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Those were the first ones I really lost myself in. And so I get that 100%. My wife was a huge fan of the books and the movies. She loves them. And recently my oldest daughter, has really gotten into the Hunger Games saga and is currently reading through the prequel that Scott mentioned. They're making a movie out of, and they're quite excited, by the way. They're very excited for this movie to come out.
I think this could be $1 billion movie.
Yeah. And so we have enough here, I think, between me and Cody, with our loved ones loving the Hunger Games, that it's very possible we might have to talk about the prequel.
I was saying you could also Be Kind rewind like all 3 of the old sub movies all together. You wouldn't have to do a separate pod for each. You could kind of just recap where we're at, because it's been a few years since the movie's come out, and then maybe even do a review pod of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Both of which I would be more than happy to throw my 2 cents in on, because I just have
that sounds like a lot of work, Scott.
That's an epic undertaking.
No. I have seen, because my wife was into them, I'm pretty sure I've seen the Hunger Game movies.
I've seen all of them multiple times.
I just can't say that for me personally they left a big thing in. But again, like, I can understand, like, those were the books that you first lost yourself in. I understand that. By the way, when we talk about the first books you lost yourself in, let's give a big shout out and awe to the poor young kids that their first series they lost themselves were the Left Behind books. Can we give it up for those kids? Those were the first books I got into. Oh, I'm sorry. That was just some Left Behind slander.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
All right, Scott. Anything else? I think we've definitely indicated that yes, there should be some Hunger Games content coming soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Suzanne Collins is a great author, and I think she did really good with those books. And
she's not nearly as problematic as J.K. Rowling, apparently, to culture. I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't follow J.K. I just know.
I feel like Suzanne Collins just pops on the scene to release some content and then goes and lives her happy life.
That's the best way.
It is.
All right, Scott, you the man. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're back live from the Pop Culture Pastor Lair. We're joined by now one of the most prolific geeks of the round table.
Yeah.
An OG, Sir Jackson Chauncey.
Hello.
A fan of many things, not least of which is one Kurt Russell. He's a big fan. And so, Jackson, we're so glad you could make it for our 100th episode Extravaganza. I can hardly wait to hear what your piece of pop culture is going to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cede the floor to you. You're going to get 60 seconds on the geek timer, and you're going to be able to just kind of state your case. Tell us your piece of pop culture that's beloved to you that you think we should talk about.
Let him talk to you.
Let's let Jackson talk. Your 60 seconds starts now.
So I have an issue here. We've got an unsolved mystery, if it were. We've covered pop culture titans like a Goofy movie, Disney movies in general, Tombstone, and The Burbs. But we
Whoa! Hold on. Stop the clock. Stop the geek timer. What? Why did you laugh?
Because you can tell the sarcasm.
No. Was that sarcastic?
100% genuine, Dave.
Thank you.
You've got a friend in me.
There will be no burb slander on the 100th episode of all episodes.
But here we are, the 100th episode, the milestone moment that it is, and you guys have somehow never touched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Have we not?
Well, I mean, I have touched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just because Kevin Eastman and I have fist bumped.
You've brushed against it, but you've never given it the attention it deserves.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So we're going back to the 80s.
We're going back to the 80s. Now, my experience with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the comic books. When Eastman and Laird start doing their thing, it is a black and white comic. It is super duper violent. And I loved it like a lot of people did, but mostly I loved comics. I was just a comic book head. And I got to say, when it gets picked up in the 90s as like a cartoon that's geared towards kids, I'm not really interested, because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles I knew were very, very violent. And it was weird. It always had that weird vibe because, you know, Marvel and DC are obviously coming with the color comics. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were definitely collector heavy because they were more rare. They weren't mass producing those. So they were always worth something if you could get your hands on them. And so in my whole cultural thing, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics are very collector heavy issues of things that if I was going to get my hands on them, it wasn't to read them specifically. It was more just to collect them as something valuable as they got bigger. Now, when that turns into the Archie Comics cartoon animated thing, it's different, first of all. And I just don't follow it as much because by that time, I'm not into the afternoon cartoons. And then the movies start coming out. Corey Feldman is the voice of one of them in the original movie. You got MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice making songs for him. TNT Power Teenage. Wait, was that not? Was that Tone Loc? I feel like Tone Loc maybe did a song for one of those. You listen, you have to have been there. If you know, you know. Tone Loc.
Oh yeah,
But
Ace
yeah,
Ventura.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tone Loc is the police detective in Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Blank Check.
Is he in Blank Check as well?
Mm-hmm.
Do we talk about, is Blank Check the one where the kid kisses the adult woman at the end?
Yes. Very
the one that
problematic.
makes everyone feels weird about?
I felt like I must have committed a sin because
Duff.
Everybody went quiet in the studio when I said Blank Check.
Yeah. Duff from MTV. I don't remember her whole name. She was just Duff.
Well, someone needed to remember that much.
So that's kind of where I am with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where I'm kind of out on the where everyone else thinks of them. When I think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's this like underground comic book that's super violent and weird because they're animals. And, you know, I thought it was interesting. But yeah, Cody, what's your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle experience?
Oh, I grew up on the cartoon in the movie, and at this most recent Comic Con that we went to in Kansas City, got to meet Kevin Eastman. Really loved the new movie. Splinter straight up kills the dude. Spoiler alerts. But we also met at Salina's, I think it was, Comic Con last year. The guy that created the mildly microwave prepubescent Kung Fu Gophers.
We did meet that guy.
Like, it comes out right after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles starts making it.
But say it again.
The mildly microwave prepubescent Kung Fu Gophers.
Now, was he just trying to capitalize on all that? Was it Christian? I thought it was it a Christian comic book?
No, he makes Christian comic books now.
Now he does.
Back then, he was just ripping off the Turtles.
So a catchy title like that, no wonder it never caught on.
I think we kind of cut you off. What's your place in your heart for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Well, I came in at a similar time Cody did, obviously similar age and whatnot. So I'm go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Mm-hmm. But, I feel it's a franchise that has something for everyone. You've got the comics, we've got the movies, people younger than us have the cartoons and the Michael Bay movies. And then we've got the new movie, which I've got as my 2023 most underrated film. Second, probably on my yearly list altogether behind Guardians. But it's just when you think it's gone, it brings itself back. And it's a very relatable movie. I think everybody's got a favorite turtle.
Oh, yeah.
I think Cody picked Leonardo, and I rolled my eyes for 10 minutes, but...
How dare you?
We all know it's Donatello. Corey Feldman himself.
Whoa.
I was going to say Mikey is my second, so...
I thought everyone loved Mikey.
Cody, Donatello does machines. That's all you need to know.
The movie was very good. I was impressed by the Mutant Mayhem movie. And in fact, I'm looking right here on the Googles, and it says it's the #2 most searched action movie on streaming today.
And there's been a huge surge in TMNT merchandising that they're several $100 million this year alone.
Wow.
So my friend Kevin's doing okay.
They're back.
My
for a whole
future
new
child's
generation.
got a Donatello plush waiting on him, so...
There you go. It's here for a whole new generation.
Yeah, starting them off right.
Do we have to thank Seth Rogen for that?
Nope.
No.
I've already thanked my friend Kevin.
Your friend Kevin Eastman. All right. Jackson, that is a worthy addition into it. And we did talk a little bit about Mutant Mayhem, although we should have an episode of, TMNT is just one of those things that is still going strong thanks to the new movie, and yet goes so far back. That goes back before Cody and you were born.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And the Coming Out of Our Shells tour, you can't leave that one off.
I don't even know what that is. What about the video game that was unbeatable?
Yeah, we got that one too. You got to enlighten yourself on the Coming Out of Our Shells tour.
Was that like the album? Did they come out with an album?
Absolutely.
Oh,
and they
man.
went around America performing for children.
There's other geeks in the room who have like the gritting teeth emoji going on right now. I vaguely remember that, and I might
wore
have
that
even
tape
had it.
out. I wore that tape out.
What's the best song on there?
They all morphed together. Honestly, I went for the ride. That was my babysitter for many an afternoon.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles album. What was the name of that?
Coming Out of Our Shells.
Coming Out of Our Shells.
That was actually one of the songs, so I'll just default and say Coming Out of Our Shells.
Classic.
Okay. I'm not finding it on Google just under Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm gonna add the word coming out of there to see if we can find it now. What? Now, come on. How can I not? Cody, I need help with the Google.
Literally, if you go on the Apple,
I found
Coming Out of Our Shells is an album you can add to your playlist with hit songs such as Coming Out of Our Shells and Pizza Power.
Pizza Power, Walk Straight, No Treaties, Cowabunga, An April Ballad. That was
What
that
more
a love
could you
song?
ask for?
Yeah, okay. What do you think we would get hit with copyright if I played a little bit of
Yes.
one? Yeah.
My friend Kevin is proud of his intellectual property.
He's very litigious.
Sadly, we better not play any of the Coming Out of Our Shells album.
This 100th episode will be our biggest failure if we do.
There will be no 101.
Jackson, as always, good stuff. Good stuff. And yeah, we might have to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you're a TMNT guy or gal, comment below the episode social media post and let us know. Jackson's right. You guys need to talk about this because it's definitely qualifies as historical pop as well as current.
It does.
All right. We'll see you later, Jackson. Thank you. I'm sitting here and I'm struggling because of Cody's simple palate.
Oh, no, my palate is refined.
No, it's not refined at all. Cody doesn't like anything.
No, the thing is, there's nothing in the town we live in. So let's not be rude to Cody's palate. Thank you.
Cody's touchy. We've been here for a little bit. We're celebrating our 100th episode extravaganza.
Without the air conditioner.
We've been going live on the Geek phone, so we have to turn the air conditioner off because the air conditioner is too loud and it messes with the Geek phone. And it's hot, but we had McDonald's to eat, which...
You got to risk it for the biscuit sometimes.
Sitting on your biscuit, never having to risk it.
Living a Nerf life.
Anyways, so we're back live in the pop culture pastor lair, and we have a listener who came in. This is our first listener live in the Eric Farmer from right here in Chanute. How does it feel to be in the pop culture pastor lair? What are your feelings right now?
I am extremely scared.
Okay, Eric, this is for Eric's first time doing something live on the air. So I'm going to need you to get closer to that mic.
Sorry.
And you got to speak up. And so Eric is a little nervous, understandably.
We're intimidating guys.
Look. You don't come up against, for your first time, just the podcasters of the world.
Yeah.
Who really hit their stride around episode 100.
Yeah.
And so we understand why this is intimidating. But if you just speak loudly and clearly into the microphone, we're about to cede you the floor.
All right.
To champion or state your case for the piece of pop culture that we have not talked about that you think we should. Okay. So Eric Farmer from Chanute, Kansas, live from the round table. Your 60 seconds starts now.
Okay. I think probably the 1986 animated Transformers movie doesn't get as much love as it should. It is by far a huge pillar of my childhood, and it was just absolutely, it still holds up today, I believe. It's just makes all the Bayverse just look horrible, no matter, And, it had a bunch of big name actors that, were really big in the day, and then the soundtrack alone was just phenomenal. Just 80s rock all the way, and it was fantastic. So I think it would definitely be worth a good talking about.
Cody, what is your experience with Transformers, the movie, being a millennial? Because this hits a little. We're usually dealing things with after my time. This hits before Cody's time.
Yeah, I'm not even alive yet. But the thing is, I'm a huge Orson Welles guy. And so Unicron is one of my faves. So yeah, I'm all about this.
It is so weird to sit and talk about this movie and be like, oh yeah, Orson Welles was in this. he's the voice of Unicron. And by the way, Leonard Nimoy is Galvatron, who Megatron kind of turns into. Judd Nelson is Rodimus Prime, who Hot Rod turns into. Like there's a bunch of weird transformations. There's a lot like Eric Idle's in this. There's some Robert Stack.
Yep. Unsolved mysteries.
Update. We still have no idea how to solve this mystery. Robert Stack.
And the Micro Machine Man, John Machida.
Yeah.
I would have never remembered that guy's name. The guy that was in the Micro Machine commercials. Let me tell you, I'm glad that you're here, Eric, because Transformers the movie is the reason why I can really sit here and honestly say that all the current Transformers movies suck.
Yes.
They are terrible. And the only reason I can say that is because we had this. Let me break it down for you, Cody. Let me tell you how important.
I've seen all the movies.
No. Let me tell you how big this was in the consciousness of pubescent boys everywhere in the 1980s when this happens. So Transformers, the movie, like there's all the cartoons that were out back then that we loved. Yeah. G.I. Joe, He-Man.
Yep.
Thundercats. Like, look, even the behind, the like under the radar stuff. Mask.
Yes.
Was fun. Nobody watched GoBots. GoBots was trash.
I accidentally did one.
He lived to tell the tale.
My mom accidentally rented it from Blockbuster once when I told her to get Transformers the movie, and I almost disowned her.
Yeah.
But Transformers the movie is in the theater. Like, this is a first. It's so there were like they did every once in a while they would do like the movie length where it was like 4 or 5 episodes back to back to back, which were kind of fun. So like G.I. Joe did Rise of Serpentor.
Yeah.
Which those were awesome. But this was the first time we had one of these in the movie theater, and everybody was talking about it. I think what year does this come out?
86.
So I'm 10 years old, and I remember like we have to go see this movie. Mom, you have to drop me off at the theater. Everybody who's anybody's going to see this movie, and if I can't talk about it on a Monday in the lunchroom, I don't know what's going to happen. I'll be unpopular forever.
Traumatized a lot of kids too.
What's that?
It traumatized a lot of kids too.
Traumatized them? Yeah, let's talk about that. Because within the first 15 minutes of the movie, one, you get an amazing 80s song.
Oh, yeah.
The Touch by Stan Bush.
Yes.
Which, if you don't know, if you're uninitiated, go Spotify that. Oh. If I could sum up the 80s for you with one song, it would be The Touch by Stan Bush. Just go listen to it on Spotify. So the Decepticons, like it starts off mid-action. The Decepticons are attacking. The Autobots are rolling out. Optimus Prime is rolling into action to the sounds of Stan Bush. Then he dies.
Oh, yeah.
They killed him off in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
That was after watching 4 of them just destroyed before that.
Listen, 10-year-old me sitting in the theater watching Optimus Prime's body go gray. That was the closest I think I'd ever been to death at that point. I didn't know what to do. I'm crying. I'm like, you're right. We seriously got traumatized, but that's why we're Gen X.
There was a kid.
We can deal with it.
There was a kid that locked himself in his bedroom for 2 weeks.
Nuh-uh.
Yes. It was reported a kid locked himself in his bedroom for 2 weeks.
It wasn't you?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh. All the movies that have come out since. The live action movies.
Yeah.
Darn you, Michael Bay.
The newest one actually wasn't bad in it, but it wasn't Michael Bay.
I haven't seen the newest one.
Get Bay out of here.
Good.
Yeah, the first one, okay. Like if I'm being fair.
You would also like the music of this new one because it's 90s rap.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like it takes place in like 94, I think. So yeah, it's worth a check out.
Wait, it takes place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This takes place in history?
Yes.
Why?
It follows the Bumblebee movie.
Oh, so they're building off the prequel
Yeah.
of the Bumblebee thing. Okay. Well, that's interesting. The Transformers movie original motion picture soundtrack. You ready for this? Here's the tracks. The Touch by Stan Bush, already mentioned as iconic. We've got The Death of Optimus Prime by Vin DiCola, who also did the Rocky music.
Yes.
Dare by Stan Bush. Stan Bush is a legend. That's Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way by Spectre General.
Yeah.
Jackson Chauncey's in the back of the room, double thumbs upping that. We've got More by Vin DiCola. How about Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic?
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
Appears on this track. I just, listen. Somehow we've done 100 episodes and we have not talked about Transformers the movie, and that's a darn crime.
That is a moral failing on our part.
And they do the unthinkable. You tell me when someone took some existing IP and made a decision more drastic than what they did, where they said, we're going to kill off the beloved main character hero, Optimus Prime, in the first 15 minutes of this movie. It goes in a complete direction where it's almost all new characters, and then the series keeps going.
Yep.
The cartoons that were on after that all had Rodimus Prime and all these characters that were new, and it took place in space. It was a completely different setting. Yep. And we were just like, oh, we're in. I'm in on the hot rod as leader of the Autobots train, and Galvatron is the new Megatron and all of it.
Yep.
Even Blur, Stan Machida.
Yeah, John
Machida. Whatever. The Micro Machine / Dunkin' Donut guy. Because he was the Dunkin' Donut guy too, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to make the donuts. You already made the donuts.
Well, that was nice of him.
Transformers the movie is a just ginormous piece of my childhood, and apparently Eric's too.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of storyboards that's been released since that they didn't put in the movie that made it even more traumatic than it originally was. Like, it would have been R-rated if they would have.
No.
It was gory. Like, just
gory.
Autobots blowing up everywhere. It was.
Okay. I'm going to have to check that out. Gonna have to check it out. All right, Eric, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for, we may have to do a Be Kind rewind on that.
It's on the list.
It's on the list. We appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Guilty feet have got no rhythm. You didn't know you were going to get some Careless Whisper.
Wasn't ready for it.
It's been a long night here in the pop culture pastor layer for our 100th episode at Extravaganza, and I'm just, George Michael's flowing.
Someone had to.
Not Arrested Development George Michael, but like
completely different.
Careless Whisper George Michael.
Wham, George Michael.
Did you know Careless Whisper is one of my ringtones?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
Because I've heard you play it.
Did you have?
Yep.
We're a lot closer than I thought.
Indeed.
Okay. We are here with another OG Geek of the Round Table, Sir Justin John.
We're twins today.
Yeah.
Where's what?
We're twins.
Cody and I are twinning with
You're both
Super
wearing
Bowl
with the T.
You
Kelsey
are both wearing
jerseys.
Taylor Swift's significant other's football jersey.
Yes.
Say it's like T. Kelsey, T. Swift. It kind of works.
Like, was there any other girl on the planet that Travis Kelce could have picked where he wouldn't have been the main draw? I don't think there is. Who could he have gone out with where it would have been like, well, they're riding Travis Kelce's coattails?
Yeah, I mean, she's so profound in the media right now and everything. It's like, I don't know if there's. I mean, she's so larger than life right now. It's crazy.
Just like the Backstreet Boys.
If Kelce and
I walked
T.
into that
Swift
one.
get married, like
that's gonna be wild.
That's crazy.
I already called it, so
you called it.
I did.
You think this ends in nuptials? Is this the relationship that works?
Yeah.
And how does that affect Taylor Swift's music career?
Maybe a little bit more hope and joy.
She's got a blank space, baby.
You can't go wrong with the hope and joy. She needs it. I'm rooting for Taylor.
Yeah, man. That would be fantastic.
And Travis might be the guy.
Yeah.
She would be out of the woods.
I never thought we were going to be sitting here talking about Taylor Swift's relationships, but here we are.
Look at us.
This is amazing.
Hey, clearly you got to shoot your shot, man.
Yep.
and unless you, I mean, even if you think there's zero chance, Shoot your shot.
I just can't believe I'm living in a world where I'm sort of watching a Chiefs game today, and they keep showing Taylor Swift like chest bumping people up in the press box.
I was watching a Taylor Swift viewing experience in the Chiefs game broke out.
Yeah, right.
Dude, she was sitting next to Mama Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yes, Mama Kelsey is on fire.
She's living the best 2023 anyone's ever lived.
Man,
I saw a Twitter post where it says, "So I can't stop looking at this rock star they keep showing today," and they're like, "You know who it is? It's Mama Kelsey. That's who it is."
Just for this, I got to take a picture of you two. In your T Swift your Travis Kelce jerseys. I can't, Cody. Your mic's in the way of their face. This picture's going on. By the way, we took it live. We took this picture live, and it's going up when this episode drops.
But hey, let's be honest. It was like 41-0 before we took Mahomes out.
Yeah.
Like if T Swift has that kind of like motivation for like winning, like she gets to come to every game.
Right. We know.
Please be at the game in Germany.
Like
yes,
we know you're busy, T.
But come on,
T Swift. But come on, you might need to come. Anyways, okay, we got sidetracked.
Sorry,
I got sidetracked because you guys are wearing Kelsey jerseys.
Sorry. It's easy.
Yeah.
Justin John.
Hey,
you are here for the 100th episode extravaganza of Pop Culture Pastor, and you are here to tell us, to champion or to state your case for some piece of beloved pop culture to you that we thus far have left untouched.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to set the geek timer, and your 60 seconds starts right now.
Okay. I am titling this The Pop Culture Dream. Okay. Friends, family, members of the Pop Culture Pastor Empire. It's the 100th episode. Congrats, guys. We made it. We're here. You guys did it. This is awesome. We remember the beginning. We're here to 100 episodes. And we're going to be pumped even when we hit 200 episodes, 500 episodes. You know,
time out. Stop time. We started from the bottom. Now we're here. Start time.
That's
Go.
right. Pop culture is really cool in the sense that like you can tell that like both of you guys have been enthralled in it. Like every single time we listen to the podcast, we can tell that you were shaped by it, molded by it. It wasn't something you jumped into last year or anything. This is something that has been ever since the beginning. And that's one of the best parts about the podcast. It really fits. So myself, growing up, I always knew that pop culture was one of the best things for daily living. I knew that like the best way to earn a paycheck had to be through pop culture somehow. In third grade, a bunch of my friends and everything, they wanted to be like dairy farmers, CPAs. I wanted to be a game show host. That looked like the dopest means. Like Bob Barker was a big deal. Like how is that not the best job in the history of the United States?
Bob Barker thought it was the best job.
Yeah. Okay. So as I was growing up later in life, I realized it wasn't necessarily that anymore. I wanted to be a voice actor. I felt like I was made for it. I felt like it was like my dream job. Honestly, right now today, you could pay me nothing and I would go voice a character in a movie, a character in a TV series. I'd do it every day. You could buy me supper, man, and I'd be happy. Like I wouldn't even care. But
your wife might not be.
I know. It might be rough. I might need a little bit of compensation just to make sure the family can live. But that led me to this. I kind of want to know what you guys' pop culture dream is. Like whether it's something from your past or whether it's some future. Like, is there a comic book that you've always wanted to be a part of and loved, or like some sort of writer? Or is there a movie that shaped your life that you're like, man, if I could have just acted on that movie, I would have loved that? Or maybe you're like me, maybe you just want to like voice a character and that would make your day. But I feel like there has to be something in you two guys' lives that has shaped you and makes you want to be a part of something. And I'm curious, I don't think we've talked about it enough as to what your pop culture dream is.
Yeah. Let me say, first of all, I think this is brilliant because obviously pop culture has shaped us in so many ways. And I don't think we talk about it as much as the podcast has gone on. Just these like parts where it really weaves into our lives. So we talk about it in reference to the nostalgic things we love. So like if you listen to the podcast for any length of time, you know I love the Goonies. And you know I love it not because it's cinematic masterpiece.
It is.
It is, but that's not why I love it. I love it because I grew up kind of lonely. I moved around a lot. And that was like a group of kids who grew up together, and that was their friend unit. They were the Goonies. And it just made it all better when Ki Hai Kwan won an Oscar and someone asked him like if he still keeps in touch with them. And he looked at them like they were crazy. He was like, of course. Goonies never say die. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I will love these kids now as adults till the end of time.
I mean, did you cry? Because I'm about to.
Yeah. So But yeah, so we've talked about that. But the way you're framing this question, what did it influence about who I wanted to be? And I've never talked about this. In fact, I think the only person on earth who may know this about me is my cousin Will. Because because I think I remember trying to do stand-up routines on the sidewalk for like him and like a couple of his friends. I loved stand-up comedy. I loved George Carlin. I was heavily a lot of the integral parts about the way I interact with culture, like through language and vocabulary, comes expressly and specifically from George Carlin. I loved George Carlin. I had all his cassette tapes, and I know what you're thinking. Your parents let you listen to George Carlin? We've already been over this. They didn't care what I was listening to.
They were all right.
And I am heavily shaped by George Carlin. And listen, I'm going to tell you this. Pop culture wise, he's not just a comedian. He was a philosopher of our generation. Dude was highly intelligent, highly observant of culture, and knew what he was talking about. You go back and listen to his stuff. People still play clips of his stuff that are relevant today to the culture. He called things. He predicted things. The best philosophers always do because they are students of human behavior. That's what a lot of stand-up comedians are. You see a lot of this with Chappelle.
Yeah.
This is why Chappelle is such a lightning rod. And he's super intelligent and smart. It's because to be good at comedy, you have to be a very keen observer of humanity.
Yes. He understands culture very clearly.
So pop culture-wise, I mean, like I always sang.
Yeah.
But by myself, nobody ever heard me sing. I didn't know that I was any good or could sing until like I sang in church after I got saved. And they were like, hey, you're pretty good at singing. Do you want to sing on the worship team? And I'm like, I'm good?
No. Come on.
Why didn't I go on Idol?
Get out of here.
I could have been a singer. No, I couldn't have.
But I could sing Kelly
church.
Clarkson.
But what's cooler than comedy? Like busting people's guts is hilarious. Like just listening to them laugh, like
I don't think I've ever mentioned this on the show, but when Eddie Murphy's Raw came out, as a little kid, I know this is horrifying to my Christian listeners. Yeah, I watched the nerd out of that. I loved Eddie Murphy's stand-up. It was hilarious. And by the way, if DJ was here, he could speak on this. I got a window into a culture I wasn't familiar with. Eddie Murphy helped me learn about the African American experience through comedy. And the best comedians do that. They help give you windows into the human experience you might not be familiar with.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thanks.
I feel like, I got to talk about something I haven't talked about before.
I love that. That's unique, man.
Yeah. Cody?
Okay.
How does your life intertwine with young Cody's life intertwined with
So I'll go past and not answer the present because you did have like a present and future component to it, but I'll just stick with the past.
I like it.
Growing up, I always wanted to be a 6'6" shooting guard from North Carolina.
Who didn't?
Doggone it. God, why did you deny us?
Then I could have played basketball and then made Space Jam 2. That would have been really epic. And for those who are uninitiated, I grew up a really big Michael Jordan fan. And so sports was my main pop culturedom besides Batman. Batman has always been there. Sports, and then like intertwine some cartoons in Jurassic Park and some other random things. But I'm really big into sports. And as I got older, my ambitions might have changed a little bit to more like, there's a lot of sports talk shows. And so it prepared me for this.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Sports talk radio starts getting really big in like the mid 90s. I feel like it kind of rides in on the national sense with like guys like Jim Rome. And then it starts.
Who was in Space Jam.
He was.
Yeah.
And then it starts like, kind of as it does spreading down to like the local markets where the sports radio talk show thing gets big in the mid 90s, late 90s. So I could totally see that. And there's a lot of the guys that are on the air on like ESPN now that got their start in that. So the big example from Kansas City is Nick
Wright.
Nick Wright. Yeah. So Nick Wright starts off on like local sports talk radio in Kansas City, and now he's up, doing national televised things.
That would be really awesome too. I mean, like sometimes people forget that, just to talk about a passion is exciting. Like those guys, they're living the dream. I mean, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Also, teenage Cody would have been like, if esports was a bigger thing back then, oh man, I would have gone pro and you guys wouldn't even know me.
Somebody recently sent me a link to they were trying to, the makers of NBA Jam are trying to start an E-League. I'm like, don't you mess with me. I will leave the ministry in a sec. No, I'm just kidding. I'm making my money. Mama, I made it. I'm going to go win all the NBA Jams.
NBA Jam was amazing. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a great game.
Smash Brothers is where I would be making my killing at.
Really?
Or Mario Kart.
It's just button mashing, isn't it?
If you are good at Smash Brothers, no.
Okay.
If you are basic, you betcha.
You're basic.
Dave, we could go Rocket League.
We like to pretend, so we play. Justin and I will play Rocket League together under the name Pop Culture Pastor.
That's right.
And we are bringing nothing but embarrassment.
Our clan is ferocious.
We play and we win more than we lose, I'd say.
Way to go!
Yeah, we do. We do.
But we're not dominant by any.
We've got that
stretch.
that '90s hot pink going on.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
We're representing Pop Culture Pastor on Rocket League. So if you play Rocket League and you played Pop Culture Pastor, that was me and Justin.
Yeah, man. That'd be
carrying the banner.
Cody,
so much fun.
We could have a trio if Cody would, get back into Rocket League.
I could.
Man,
I would need a headset that was actually quality.
Well, that would help.
Okay.
That would definitely help. Communications.
We want to be able to talk.
You guys would be like, quit chasing the ball. Please.
I think we need to have more episodes or some episodes like that of pop culture to young us, pop culture to present us, pop culture to future us type stuff. Because I think about that a lot. I think about how my pop culture tastes have evolved.
Still rocking the Batman.
Love Batman.
Yeah. That one's not going away.
The big one for me, the one I think about it the most on is Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because I was such a huge Star Wars kid. And as I've grown older, like some of the things they lost me with. And so now I have this weird kind of awkward relationship with Star Wars that, just to drop a hint that Ahsoka is like healing a lot of.
Oh, man.
I have found myself really into Ahsoka, but
I still need to watch
that. Is information for another episode because like if we go down that road, we'll continue talking. But this is why it's interesting, the way we interact with pop culture.
Say, can we get together and talk about Ahsoka sometime?
Yes.
I'd love that.
I'd say it's definitely coming.
I actually have to watch this.
Because there's only 2 episodes left and it seems like it's going to be groundbreaking.
Oh, man.
It already has been in my
way. It's fantastic.
I love it.
All I've seen is like this picture of someone, no spoilers here, in like smoke. And I'm like, this is the scene that everyone's talking about?
Listen.
Get out of here.
This is the first Marvel/Star Wars content that I have, Disney Plus content that I have felt the need to rewatch. I am currently on going through my second viewings of the episodes that I've already aired.
I'm just waiting for you to get to Peacemaker.
It'll happen someday. Someday. Justin?
Hey.
Great question.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Great thing. We'll talk to you later. Cody, we're back on the Geek Phone.
I don't know how much more dialing I can do.
How much more excitement can one take? This is a different idea for us. We thought we had to do something different for the 100th. And so we thought, why don't we just go to the Geek Phone a lot and people can just tell us all the things. Because one of the more regular things we hear by people that listen is, how come you never talk about this or how come you never talk about that? And usually it's because, well, I don't know anything about everything.
Can't do it all, people.
But this is a special opportunity. We thought, why not do this episode and make this about the things we should talk about, and then we can kind of use that as a launching point.
Okay.
So we're back on the Geek Phone, and we have live from a string with a can on the end of it, Lauren Allen. Lauren, where are you from?
I live in Garland, just outside of Dallas.
Okay, Garland, Texas, just
Yes.
outside of Dallas. Live on the Geek Phone. Lauren, you have 60 seconds on the Geek Timer to tell us, state your case or champion some beloved piece of pop culture to you that you think we should talk about and we haven't. Your 60 seconds starts now.
Okay, so the piece I've chosen is my favorite movie of all times, any genre, anything. And I also think it is one of the most underrated Disney movies of all time. The movie I am talking about is Treasure Planet. I know it goes off of the old Treasure Island, but I think they did a great job adapting it to the space segment that they did. It's also groundbreaking in the animation area because they actually, it was the first time that they did both 2D and 3D animation all in one film. I think the soundtrack is absolutely amazing and stands up all on its own. And they did all of it with only one actual song that wasn't just background soundtrack music, which was also done by the Goo Goo Dolls, which was amazing anyway. So I think it's an amazing piece and very underrated, and it is my favorite movie of all time.
Your favorite
59 seconds.
You
Nailed it.
your own timer?
I did.
You didn't trust the Geek Timer?
I wanted to make sure I stopped before I got cut off.
Okay, what Goo Goo Dolls song was it? Do we know?
It's
You know?
I'm Still Here. It was
Okay.
written for the film, I'm pretty sure.
They wrote it specifically for Treasure Planet. Now,
I'm glad that we have some Goo Goo Dolls being brought up.
yeah, I'm a big Goo Goo Doll fan. Do you know they started off as a punk band?
I didn't, but that would be right up my alley. That's like my favorite style. So
Yeah, they were actually a punk band, and then it turns out they figured out they were really good at writing ballads. Clearly,
Nailed it.
because someone played me. I remember way back in the day, someone said someone was listening to something like really up tempo, really punk sounding. I was like, "Who is this?" And they're like, "It's the Goo Goo Dolls." I'm like, "Stop it! It's not." Like, no, seriously. Like, okay, all right, good for them. They, do what you're good at.
They have some angst to them, so I could see it.
For sure. The first thing I see when I'm looking at this, Cody, is the voice talent here is pretty impressive. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Martin Short, Emma Thompson. There's tons of people in this movie. David Hyde Pierce. I've never seen it. Is that bad?
You've never seen it?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you definitely have to watch it. It's
He
a
didn't watch
classic.
a Goofy movie until this year. So.
Yeah, I know. That's so sad.
This is one of those sad things about me being friends with millennials. Is it comes out in 2002. Man, I'm 26 years old by the time this movie comes out. It just doesn't hit me. I don't have kids yet.
Treasure Planet, I have watched it once. This is towards the tail end of my must watch Disney stuff. And then as I get into college, I'm like, you can watch Disney stuff, Cody. It's okay. And so, yes, it's a good one. It's worth watching.
Okay.
I feel like it's really well done. I'm not one who can really rewatch movies very often, but this is one I can't tell you how many times I've watched it, and I can quote almost the entire movie, and I can listen to the soundtrack and tell you what scene they're in.
Oh, wow.
It says it's adventure sci-fi, and it's based on Treasure Island, like you said, but it is like a futuristic thing. Like it takes place in space.
Yeah, they live on a certain planet, but they're exploring through other planets. So their mode of transportation it looks like an old style boat, but it's a space boat. So it floats through space.
Naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm looking for more things to do Be Kind rewinds on that I haven't seen. Because thus far, it's mostly things I've seen. And occasionally there's one that Cody hasn't seen that I make him watch. But I think it would be fair if we went back and did things that I haven't seen either, because it would give a different perspective. Because recently we did a Be Kind rewind on the Burbs, and some people didn't like that as much as I did, and it made me sad.
I was with them.
Yeah, come on. And so now I'm ready to watch some things y'all watched and tear them to pieces.
So
Treasure Planet, you're next.
Something
No.
I would point out about this too, like I mentioned, the soundtrack. I think they did a good job because they kind of gave it kind of Celtic vibes like you would expect in a pirate movie, but
Mhm.
somehow blended it with themes that you expect in a space or a sci-fi movie. So I think they did a really good job blending those two styles for this movie that really is a blend of like, it does have the pirate feel, but it also has a sci-fi feel.
It's Rotten Tomato score is 69% and the audience score is 72. That's about as close as you see between the two on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's interesting. Lauren, I know that I've heard some other people around your age who swear by this movie. And I'm surprised, Cody, it's not something super memorable, like more memorable for you.
Yeah, like I said, it's right at the age that I'm like, cartoons, whatever. And then like college, I'm like, you could watch cartoons still.
It makes me feel like if we're gonna do a Be Kind Rewind on it, I need to go back and reread the Robert Louis Stevenson Treasure Island book. Did you ever read that in school?
I actually haven't. I did watch. Well, I watched Muppet Treasure Island, obviously, when I was younger.
That's a
because it's
classic.
Muppets.
That pretty much counts. I think that counts.
And then I think I tried to watch one of the Treasure Island movies, and I just couldn't do it. I don't remember what it was, but maybe it was just the quality of it. But
yeah.
But yeah, there's something about this movie that to me is just so charming that I just keep going back to it over and over again.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'm gonna make it one of my next movie nights with the kids. We'll check it out.
It's happening.
I guess I'll invite Cody over.
Sweet.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was wonderful talking to you. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Okay, Cody, we're back on the Geek Phone.
Yeah, for like the 100th time.
We're gonna say, it's the 100th episode Extravaganza, so we're gonna set a record.
Fitting.
We're gonna set a record for how many times we go to the Geek Phone, and this time we're with another listener. Now, is it Kara or Kara?
Kara.
Kara. Okay, I'm pretty sure. So we've met Kara at comic conventions because she is a full-fledged card-carrying geek. And if she was ever around here and wanted to record an episode with us, we'd probably make her a Geek of the Round Table. Make it official.
Oh, I would definitely do that.
Yeah. So, but we know Kara from being around, and she's from Effingham, Kansas, which I assure you is not a curse. But it is a small town, I think. How many people are in that town? Do you know?
I think like 250, somewhere around there.
That is small.
It is.
Okay. So, Kara Wilson, your 60 seconds to champion a beloved piece of pop culture that we have not talked about, but you would like us to, starts now.
Okay. So I did some thorough research, and I think I can make you believe that NSYNC is a far better band than Backstreet Boys. Okay, so this is what I found out. NSYNC has had as many top 10 hits as BSB, but only released 3 albums. So that's a really great point. They have 2 of the fastest selling albums of all time. The NSYNC reunion at the VMAs broke the internet, and everybody wants them to have a reunion tour. I think even more than when Backstreet Boys started touring again. This is my favorite one that I found out, which you guys know too, is that NSYNC can tell us what month comes after April. We need to be reminded of that. And then Backstreet Boys, they have to remind us mid-song that you are listening to them. So if they have to remind you, are they that good? And just a fun fact, if you did not know, Lance trained to be a cosmonaut when he was super young. So I don't see any Backstreet Boys that have become astronauts. So that's all I found out. But yeah.
Is Lance Russian?
He is not. They just invited him to do that.
Those crazy Russians. That's interesting. Okay. So if you're not a part of the Pop Culture Pastor community group on Facebook, you would not know that this is a thing. Cody, there was a post of some sort, and I don't know what
Hot
it was.
Take Tuesday.
It was Hot Take Tuesday, which is going to be a thing now because it was so successful. Where we got into a little Backstreet versus NSYNC thing going on here, and Cody, because he's contrarian, not because Backstreet Boys are actually better, right?
Because they're not.
They are, but yes.
Okay, so Cody, she says NSYNC's the better band. What say you?
I will say NSYNC has the far bigger names. And Timberlake's not even the talent in the group. That's JC Chazé.
Yes.
Chris Kirkpatrick had really cool hair. I don't know if he can sing or not, but each one of the Backstreet Boys can really sing. And Brian Luttrell is a Christian pop sensation. So, like, that's what Backstreet Boys have going for them.
Wait a minute. There's a Backstreet Boy that's a Christian music sensation?
He sang at least one song with a lot of big Christian names.
And a long time ago.
Yeah, I haven't seen Justin Timberlake come to our side yet.
Oh, no, that's not true.
We don't know that.
That's not true. He did a song with Kirk Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I haven't seen JC Chazé come to our side yet.
Right.
You don't know that yet.
By the way, can I also get on board the JC Chazé is more talented than Justin Timberlake train?
He just doesn't have the looks.
Yeah, I thought so. When they first started doing their own things, he did a song for Drumline called "Blowing Me Up with Her Love" that I thought should have been much bigger than it ended up being. And I just don't understand what happened to all the NSYNC fans that should have carried them all to solo stardom, other than JT.
It's the same thing as as Destiny's Child, because Kelly Rowland can sing, but she didn't have much of a career post Destiny's Child.
Interesting.
But Joey has a career. Like, doesn't he have like restaurants now?
He's a host of a lot of shows.
Bookers sometimes too.
What was that? You cut out a little bit.
He's also on Impractical Jokers sometimes too. So he has a career too.
Yeah. Man, this was
Nick and AJ are talented people in Backstreet Boys as well. Like, I am sad I'm having to name off all these people.
Cody's being outed for his Backstreet fandom.
Honestly, I was a far bigger Savage Garden fan than either NSYNC or Backstreet, but I like both.
That's weird.
I don't know who that is.
Kara doesn't know who that is.
No, Savage Garden was great.
What year were you born, Kara?
90.
Oh, you're too young.
What do you mean? You were born in 89.
Taylor Swift and I know who Savage Garden are.
Since you mentioned Taylor Swift, you mentioned that NSYNC blew up the internet with their reunion at the VMAs. That's only the second biggest blowing up of the internet now that Taylor Swift has been outed as dating Travis Kelce.
I am so for that. I think that's going to be.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
yeah.
Okay.
Well, even if they don't stay together, we're going to get another good album out of it. You know?
Have they announced that?
No, I'm just kind of going with it.
You're just going to speak it into reality?
Name it and claim it.
Right. Why is she at the game then?
Oh, man. Okay. So, yeah, my experience with both the boy bands that we're discussing here, this is one of those areas where I'm a little bit older than you guys, so it doesn't hit me in that sweet spot. Although I remember hearing, especially once they went solo. So I remember hearing the Justin Timberlake stuff out, when you went out, because I wasn't always a Christian, you guys.
What?
I would go, they would play some, Cry Me a River and stuff. All right. Kara, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you.
We may have to discuss this further in an entire episode.
90s boys bands.
That sounds, yeah.
I made you cut out again. What'd you say?
That sounds fantastic. And also, can I just say, Chris Kirkpatrick was on Celebrity Big Brother.
Hey, look at Crisco, the talent of the group.
Cody, Chris Kirkpatrick was on Celebrity Big Brother. Slam, you're done.
No, I was actually the biggest Chris Kirkpatrick fan out of like all of them. Like out the whole band, Chris was my guy. So go, Chris.
All right. You guys can't see this because this is an audio podcast, but Kara is video zooming in with us, and she is sporting the NSYNC shirt. Is that an old shirt? Like, or is it?
It is.
Wow.
It is. And another one too. That's a tour shirt.
Wow. All right. Kara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you at Wichita Comic Con probably.
Yeah,
for
sure.
You're not in that area anymore though now.
I will drive. I will drive there. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. We'll see you then. Thank you. Whew. Well, Cody, and I'm spent.
Literally, my ear is ringing.
Why?
Who's
calling?
Because of all the times we were on the geek phone. And I didn't have that Billy Mays cell phone signal deflector to prevent the cancer. So.
All the radiation. The geek phone does not give off radiation.
Well, that's good.
Specially made and modified by that dude that was in all the James Bond movies. Is that Q? Q made it.
I hope so.
It has no radiation except for all the, countries who weren't imperialist. I'm sorry. Did I say that loud? Was that a little too woke? Did I get a little too woke there? James Bond just rubs me the wrong way.
I don't know what Jimmy did to you.
I know. I'm not.
And when Christopher Nolan directs the next James Bond, I will be elated.
Okay. We'll see.
Because as my friend Marty and I have both said, that you should just be supporting Christopher Nolan.
This is a special occasion. This is a joyous occasion. Let's not bring Marty Scorsese into this, please. Can we just save that for next week? I'm not ready to talk about him yet.
My friend.
I have plenty of thoughts about the most recent things Martin Scorsese has said. And his telling you to not support comic book movies, but go support Chris Nolan, who only directed, one of the best comic book trilogies of all time. So I don't know how that makes a lot of sense, except for maybe Marty's getting a little senile.
Or Marty knows good cinema when he sees it.
Okay. All right. Like, I'm going to give him a pass because Nolan just did Oppenheimer and it was good. All right. So that's it. That's our 100th episode. And we hope you enjoyed it. And we hope you are already a subscriber. But if you're not, if you would go ahead and subscribe to the pod so you get notified every time there's a new episode. I don't know if there's notifications you can turn on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe to us. We're on Apple and Google and Spotify and Good Pods.
Probably are in the good place.
So yeah, subscribe. Also, if you could do us a favor and rate and review us if the place you're listening has that function, that helps us. It helps attract new people if they come across our podcast. You know how it is. When you run across a new podcast, the first thing you do is look at the reviews.
I don't.
What's the rating? What's the review? Cody does.
Never have, never will.
Well, some people do. So give us a review. Give us a 5-star rating. That helps.
Please and thank you.
If you can't give us a 5-star rating, then just skip that part.
Just say, these guys are amazing.
Yeah, at least say, well, I don't like the podcast, but they're super awesome and nice.
Thumbs up emoji.
Hey, we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Come find us at Air Capital Con in Wichita, Kansas, if you're going to be there at the end of October. I believe it's like October 27th and 28th, 29th. It's Saturday and Sunday.
That would be the 28th and 29th.
I wish we could make it through one episode without a Windows notification popping up while we're recording.
Thank you, Bill Gates.
On that note, hit the music. We're out. See you next time.